So what if I told you that according to the CDC, there's an elevated risk you face for at least 125 days out of the year, regardless of what location you're going to or what work you're doing out here in Reeves County. So we all know working out here in the oil field is a pretty dangerous occupation, what with fires, deadly gases, explosions, and heavy equipment everywhere. But this killer can strike even weeding your yard on your days off. Out here in our wonderful West Texas, for over a third of the year, OSHA ranks the heat danger from moderate to high. According to the CDC, from 1999 to 2010, a total of 7,415 deaths, or 618 per year, were associated with exposure to excessive natural heat. So we're going to cover heat-related illnesses, risk factors and causes, as well as the heat index and how we can use it in prevention of heat-related illnesses. So we're going to start off with what are the heat-related illnesses? What are we talking about here? So first we'll start off with a heat rash. Heat rash is clusters of red bumps on the skin appearing on the neck, chest, and folds of skin. Moving on, we've got heat cramps. So heat cramps are muscle spasms, pain in the abdomen, arms, and legs. Moving on from that, as we get to more of a dangerous illness here, we're looking at heat exhaustion. It's characterized by cool, moist skin, heavy sweating, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and a fast heartbeat. Moving on from that, we actually have heat stroke. Now, heat stroke is the most dangerous heat-related illness out there. It accounts for most of the deaths from heat-related illnesses. So heat stroke is characterized by confusion, fainting, seizures, excessive sweating, and red, hot, dry skin. So in short, these heat-related illnesses can vary from causing slight discomfort to actually causing death. So now let's look at some of the risk factors and what actually causes heat-related illnesses. So the risk factors for heat-related illness are going to be high temperatures and humidity. They're going to be radiant heat sources, contact with hot objects, direct sun exposure, and bulky non-breathable clothing. So according to WebMD, heat-related illnesses occur when our bodies cannot transfer enough heat to keep us cool. So this is typically because ambient temperatures are above our body temperature of 98.3. Think of the examples we unfortunately hear on the news all the time. You've got a child or a pet locked in a hot car. The temperature there rapidly exceeds their body temperature, and their bodies are unable to transfer enough heat to keep them cool, leading to a lot of these heat-related illnesses. So in the oil field, and especially in West Texas, we're exposed to all of these risk factors. Physical exertion is part of our day-to-day job description. We work at high temperatures all the time out here, and FRCs are the definition of bulky non-breathable clothing. So what do we do about all this? How do we prevent illness and death from heat-related illnesses? So OSHA actually has an entire campaign around preventing heat-related illnesses. The heat index was developed by the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration to combine both the temperature and humidity numbers into one number we can use to plan our activities. So the heat index, let's start looking at that. The low heat index is anything less than 91. Basically, all we need there is some basic heat safety and planning. Moving on from that, we look at a moderate heat index. Now, the moderate heat index is from 91 to 103. There, we need to have water available for all the contractors responsible for out in the field. We need to have, during our toolbox talks, we need to let our workers know that they are exposed to a moderate heat index, go over the first aid and the symptoms of some of these illnesses. We also need to make sure we have first aid, someone qualified in first aid available. So moving on from that, we look at a high heat index. Now that's from 103 to 115. There we increase rest periods, which for us is for every hour of work, you have 15 minutes of rest in the shade with water available. There we advise workers of the risk again. We have a knowledgeable person there on location that knows about these heat-related illnesses, the signs, and the first aid involved, and make sure we know where medical services are available. So moving on from that, we have the severe heat index. So severe heat index is classified as anything over 115. At this point, any non-essential work should be rescheduled to another day or a cooler part of the day. For anything that is production critical or safety critical and has to take place during the hottest time of the day, we want to enforce everything else on these lists. We want to have water available, knowledgeable people, medical services readily available. Now, when we talk about rescheduling work due to the concern raised, when we talk about rescheduling work, Due to heat, the concern is raised that we cannot let something as simple as heat get in the way of production and increase our costs. Now, according to the CDC, from 1999 to 2010, the heat index hasn't actually reached 115, so it hasn't reached severe in Reeves County. So if we follow OSHA's recommendations as far as protective measures go, there's no need to delay production or critical work. Now, as far as the cost piece goes, the U.S. Department of Labor estimates that employers pay almost $1 billion per week for direct workers' compensation costs in workplace. So, also as far as costs are concerned, I want to pose a rhetorical question. Does the minimal cost of heat awareness training, providing water, first aid training, outweigh the cost of being responsible for someone's life? So, in conclusion, heat-related illnesses are a serious problem that can lead to death. This is not just a token presentation. So for more than 1/3 of the year, you face an increased risk every time you go outside to work. If you don't remember anything else from this presentation, remember water, rest, and shade, the 3 most important steps to combat heat-related illness. Thank you for your time.